POV, you're a tornado wrangler. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
Hey, calm down, man. It's okay.
Don't tell me to calm down. We're going full-fledged force into a tornado.
I mean, at least we're making money on this.
How much are we getting paid for this?
$3 an hour.
What? We're getting paid $3 an... I might as well just get out of the car right now.
Wait, no. The tornado's already here.
Yeah, you have a point there. I
mean, we could have gotten paid more for this, for risking our lives, you know? Hey, think about the science, though. Think about the science your future kids could learn.
Who cares about the science? We could die doing this.
That is true, but it will be for a great cause.
Oh, gosh. What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, your man, Stuck the Camel. Back at it with another video, and today we are doing yet another versus videos with Twisters coming out. I thought to myself, which one is better, Twister or Twisters? So we're having a versus battle here today. If you do not know what a versus battle is, I have a bunch of different categories, and I say, out of those categories, which movie does the best with that specific category? And I did this a while back with the Meg and Meg 2 The Trench, which, yeah, a little dated, but I probably changed my opinions on that now, but we are doing it here today. But before we get to the actual beginning of the video, what's up, guys? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel because I'm on. It's absolutely free, and I'm sure on the road to 1,000 subscribers, just 112 away now, and also maybe over the YouTube algorithm recommended more people, maybe they could join that toxic fam. And also your boy's birthday is coming up, and do feel free to comment which one you think is better down below. But with that being said, let's just get into the actual categories, shall we? So transition into a Zami. Well, Twister was a first time watch as well. So, alright, so we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 categories. The perfect 10. And starting off, we have the characters. And I think they're not like the greatest movie characters of all time, but I think both of them have their good like characters in them. Like in Twister, you have Bill Paxton, who does a great job of acting while otherwise kind of being a character. Holly Hunt, her character, I thought was the only like really good character in that, and also Philip Seymour Hoffman's character too is very unique, because if you've seen most of his other work in movies, he doesn't act that way. He's like a very goofy character, which is very odd. And then as for this new one, Twisters, I think, actually has the better of the two, better of the characters, because we all saw it in the trailers. Glenn Powell's in this movie, and he basically is this social media influencer that chases tornadoes and basically gets them together and stops the tornadoes, basically. So I think he has a little bit more characteristics than Bill Paxton's character does in the first Twister. And also I forgot what that main actress's name was, but the main character you followed in this whole entire movie, I think, even though she's kind of the same as what they do with Holly Hunt's character in the first movie, I think overall they execute it better. And also, not going into spoilers here, but there's some other characters too that the first one, it didn't have these type of characters in it, but this one they do. So, yeah, and David Cornsweet's in here too, in a pretty different role from Superman. So, characters I am going to give to Twister. So that gets, they are currently 1-up on Twister. Now, let's go to the CGI. Alright, so the CGI for the original Twister, I think most of the time is pretty good, but there is some certain sequences that you can definitely tell it is very late 90s CGI, and you can definitely tell it's a little bit dated. But as for this new one, because it's not really fair, because technology has grown better over the last few years, and this is proof of that, because I don't think there's a tornado sequence in here that made it, you immediately thought to yourself, yeah, that ain't real when you look at it. So luckily they did not do that, and it seemed all practical. So not practical, not the tornadoes, I mean like when they're driving the cars and stuff, but the CGI makes it looks real. So I'm going to give yet another point to Twisters, because the CGI I think is better. Next one is the cast and performances. Now, not the actual characters, but the performances. This one I kind of went back and forth with. So I think the first one has really good performances, and this one also has really good performances. But if I had to pick which one I think is better, probably I would say the first one. I think the acting is a little bit more better in that. But just by a tad bit, because the acting in Twisters is really good too. So, yeah. Another category is the opening sequences. I think this one I might call it a tie, because I think both of them have really good opening sequences. But I don't know, there's just something, it might be recency bias, but there's just something about this new opening sequence that they had for Twisters that I felt was a little bit more like, oh, hit you in the heart, you know? It didn't make you cry, but it just goes, ow, oof, that sucks, you know? So I even more than the first film. So I'm actually gonna give the opening sequence to Twisters. I think the opening sequence is better. The standout sequences, which this is different from the opening sequences. So means like the standout sequences throughout the movie with the actual tornado chases. So I'm going to cut to the chase and immediately give Twister yet another point, because you have that Shining sequence in the movie where it's at the drive-in movie theater and then the tornado comes in. That is a standout sequence in my mind. Also, because they did it first, when they're flying the drones into the storm, it's really cool. So, yeah. And Twisters, don't get me wrong, it has some pretty cool sequences too. We all saw it in the trailers, but there's one sequence in a like bowl contest. I thought that was pretty cool. And the drone sequences were a lot better than the first film. But overall, I think the first film takes the cake because of that Shining sequence alone. So it goes into Twister, 2 points. Another category is the dialogue, which I think both have their own good pieces of dialogue, but I think because the newer one is kind of a little bit less serious compared to the first film, I'd probably give the edge to the first Twister, I think. So it is currently 3-3. The suspense I will give is the next category, and I'll give it to the new one. Just because I don't really, this might be a hot take, I know, but I don't really connect with those characters as much in the first film, maybe besides Holly Hunt's character, but that's not, I can't say I was really like rooting for her. But as for this new one, I think I cared about these characters a lot more because it's newer actors that I really enjoy. So probably that's why. The logic is the next category, which means how realistic, which one is more realistic, which both have their certain sequences that aren't realistic. But overall, I think Twister has more realistic sequences. The only sequence in it I would really say is unrealistic is probably the driving through the house sequence. But otherwise, it is more realistic than Twisters, because Twisters, you have in the trailers we all saw it. This isn't a spoiler, but they have the trucks. You know, I don't know how to explain it, but you know how they drill themselves into the ground to stay still there. So, yeah, that logic goes to Twister, and I was tied 4 apiece. Character's journey is the next category, which is mostly just to have the character journey between Helen Hunt's character from Twister and then the newer character in Twisters. Which one do I think I enjoy more? This one actually is really, really tough, but I think probably I'm going to give the edge to characters to Twister again, I think. Because I think the newer dynamic for this new character is a plot line you've seen before, where basically they have PTSD from certain events with the tornadoes or certain events, and they get thrown back into that exact moment to basically kind of get rid of it. As for the first one, basically Helen Hunt's character is basically trying to overcome it, so she doesn't I don't know, basically trying to overcome it. But now that I say it, it's pretty much the same exact thing, but I think the Twister movie did it first, so I'm going to give the edge to Twister again. The final category is better character dynamics, and I'm immediately giving it to Twisters. Because how Glenn Powell's character, the Tornado Wrangler, and this new character's dynamic starts is they don't necessarily. She basically thinks he's very self-absorbed, and I think that was pretty interesting, and basically she starts to come around to him a little bit later on. I think that's really cool. Let me think here. And also, not giving any spoilers here, but there's a dynamic with the character where I can't really give spoilers, but there's a dynamic with the character where they eventually find out they're butting heads against each other. So, and the first one, they're just doing it to do it, really, to try to bring Helen Hunt's dad back. So, Twisters gets another point. Now, since we have a tie, so we're going to have a tiebreaker. So the next category is which one would I rather watch next. And that would be Twisters. So easily. So Twisters takes the W in this versus battle. Why I specifically choose it is because when I watched the first Twisters, I thought it was decent. I didn't love it overall. But this one I do like a lot for Twisters overall. Just thoughts about it. So yeah, that's the versus battle. But with that being said, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this toxic versus battle. Be sure to let me know what you guys think is better down below. And, screw me. With that being said, guys, I'll see y'all on the next one, everybody. Peace.